Hey everyone, today we are going to be feeding two tiers, tier 3 and tier 4, and then checking on the migration of tier 1. Wally's here to help. He's checking on those for me. I'm checking on tier 1 over here, which is looking good. It's making good progress. I haven't beated any of them out because there's still a lot of their food in here that they're working on. And now Moose is here. Hi Moose. Moose is checking on tier 1 apparently. And so these guys have a lot of bedding and residual food that they're working on. So I haven't, like I said, I haven't baited anybody out yet. I want them to finish up as much of this as possible. But they're doing good. They have made a lot of progress. I just like to agitate the area a little bit just to see how many of them are congregating. And it's a little bit later in the day, so it's not as bright out. So hopefully they won't scamper away. Like this side over here, looks like there's hardly anybody there, but it looks really well processed, so that makes sense. So I like testing things. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make a little bit more of a heaping pile in the center and see if we notice anything different next week. So now we're gonna move on up to the next level. All right, let's take this top one off. Good one, there you go. All right, let's see what we got here. Wally's on lookout duty, not really sure what for. Just gonna help these guys go back in here. This looks very interesting. Obviously, you're seeing this is tier 4. We can see where we've fed in the past. So last time, according to my notes, about 6 days ago, we fed this tier in the front right corner, and we mostly gave them some squash. But I believe they had a little bit of extra food here previously that they were finishing off, which is why I didn't feed them too much. Because if you remember, this is the most recently started layer. So that's why there's not a lot of bedding or anything. So yeah, it looks like they finished off this side over here. Good job, guys. And then I think there was a little from like a few weeks ago. Oh, wow. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's definitely some worms over here. Okay, but there's no food there. Okay, and then this side was the last. Ooh, hello. So I feel like these guys, yeah, you can see where there was like some squash seeds. Okay, they demolished that. All right, well then I guess let's just see how they've done over here. Okay, well I still see some squash. Yeah, there's one big piece of squash. But other than that, and it's mostly the bottom part of the squash. So I think I'm gonna give them like their first big feeding. And I think we should do it in the center. And by big feeding, it's gonna be a bigger one for these guys in general. But I'm hoping it'll help coax some of the worms down below to come up because there's food. And it's also helping me because I have this, which has been frozen and unfrozen a few times, unfortunately. My mistake, but you never really know how much they are eating sometimes. So I would really like to use this up. Plus, it also has a tremendous amount of juices from the berries in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some paper napkins that were from a to-go container, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this one roll here, and then I'm going to put, I'm going to just give them a big feeding that we're going to bury it really well. And so they're also going to get an apple core and some squishy strawberries, and I'll show you guys what this looks like. And then I'm not going to waste these juices. I have a plan for them. So to make sure we don't have too much of a problem, I'm just going to over cover it potentially. I hope that's what we're doing. I'm hoping we're covering enough. So we got paper towels going on top. We also have, this layer is new, so they haven't really gotten any bedding yet. So they're gonna get a nice big dose of bedding. So there we go. Like probably too much bedding, but I think I would, yeah, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take, because this layer isn't super wet though, I'm gonna take the juices and kind of just, it smells remarkably good for being moldy food, but it's mostly the strawberries that smell good. So we're gonna pour that in there. So hopefully it'll help keep this cardboard from sucking out all of the moisture, which I think some of the frozen food will counter. Hopefully it'll drip down to the layer below and have those worms go on alert and be like, oh my gosh, there's food up top. And then they'll hopefully migrate so I don't have to deal with that later. So, the next one, check is tier 3. So, let's see how these guys are doing. Oops, there you go. Okay, we got quite a few guys hanging out and exploring, so I think that's generally not the worst sign ever. So I'm gonna just try and get some of the ones off the corner. I'll check it before I put the cover back on. So this is tier 3. Last week, the back right corner got some frozen squash, and maybe this is the layer I was thinking of that was feeding last time. Like there's deficits here. I assume the paper towels meant that past me fed them. Yeah, there's, okay, maybe this was the layer I was thinking about. And this paper towel or toilet paper roll feels hollow. And then over here, they're still working. Then over here, I don't really see anything, but they're just doing stuff. Okay, okay. I'm just gonna keep burying this. And let's see how these guys are doing over here. Because it's one thing if there's like actual food. Oh yeah. Okay, here's some food, potentially. Oh, is that all that's left? Okay, that's an avocado pit. I got excited. I was like, that's a funny looking squash. And it's an avocado pit. All right, well, I don't... Sit back right. Okay, well, past me either didn't put enough in or they ate it all. So there's kind of worms everywhere in here. So I think in keeping with today's tradition of feeding in the middle, I'm gonna open up this middle section here where I'm sure there's a lot of guys because it's kind of very populated in here. Oops. Got an avocado shell stuck. Oops. All right. And that way we'll get some good action in the middle here. So this one is going to get the very last toilet paper roll for now. So that's cool. That'll go in there. I don't have more paper towels. So what I'm going to do, or not any used ones, let's put it that way. So I'm going to bury it with the existing goodness that's here. Then, just for funsies, I'm going to put one of my tortillas that's getting old on top of it anyways, because I always like seeing how they work on those. So it goes toilet paper roll of fruit, like compost bedding, tortilla. Then, just because we need some bedding, just put some bedding in, like just one nice big handful. I don't have a big hand, but you get where we're going with that. And then I will take the remaining little bit of juices and just throw that on top. Whew, we're good. All right, no fuss. So that's exciting. This layer is doing really well. They're burning through their food at a good level, so I feel pleased with their progress. Yeah, this is a really quick feeding this week. So we're just gonna take our cover, make sure nobody's on the seam. I don't know if you guys check your seams. I check my seams to make sure we slide anybody out so they don't get squashed, hopefully. We put the cover back on. and covers back on, and I'll throw the, I don't know, whatever this thing is from Goodwill that I got, this blanket back on top, which I think is making a difference, helping keep the food out, or the fruit, wow, words, fruit flies and gnats out. So I'm gonna keep doing this until otherwise. And my cruise clips, those work really well, and it just makes an easy fold. And then I do it on the other side. And so it's not 100% covered, but it is mostly covered. And I also think it helps insulate with the heat. And now that it's starting to get warmer out in Florida, I generally keep this window closed, something more like this. And it's later in the evening today, so daylight isn't really the best example. But so it gets some indirect light from there, but it's covered over here, so it doesn't disrupt them too much, because I'm worried about them getting stressed, like the worms from the light coming in, because this is a south facing window, so we get some light. So I think this kind of helps mitigate that. And just something, you guys, if you're new to worm, taking care of worm farming, whatever you're doing with the worms, they really don't like light, and that stresses them out. And so anything you can do to help prevent that, I highly recommend that you try. So that's all from here. We'll upload more soon. And thanks for watching this update, guys.